We have been staring at the moon for 100,000 years, and we never once suspected what was hiding on the other side. Every culture that ever looked up gave it a name, gave it a myth, gave it a meaning. But all of human history, every poem, every prayer, every telescope pointed at the night sky, was aimed at the same face. The moon is tidally locked to Earth. It rotates at exactly the pace it orbits, which means the far side has always been turned away from us. Always. Not hidden by accident, hidden by geometry, hidden by physics itself. For billions of years, that other face was untouched by human eyes, by human cameras, by anything we sent into the sky. And then, on the 1st of April 2026, 4 astronauts left Earth and went to look. What they found did not reassure us. It raised questions we didn't know how to ask. The moon is not what we thought it was. It never was, but it wasn't until Artemis II that we began to understand just how wrong we had been all along. Their names are Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. 4 astronauts, 1 space. The SLS rocket that carried them stands 98 meters tall and generates nearly 9 million pounds of thrust. It is the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built. It took less than 5 minutes to escape Earth's orbit. 5 minutes to cross a threshold that most humans will never approach. Their trajectory was called a free return, meaning that even if their engines failed completely, the moon's gravity would catch them and sling them back toward Earth. That is the safest plan available, and it still accounts for total engine failure. That alone tells you something about where they were going. As they swung around the far side, every signal between them and Earth went dead. No voice from Houston, no telemetry, no abort command, nothing. 40 minutes of absolute radio silence with 3,400 kilometers of solid moon between them and the rest of their species. Victor Glover, a Navy test pilot with 168 days aboard the International Space Station, tried to describe what he was seeing through the window and could not. His exact words, "Humans had not evolved to see what they were looking at. It was simply beyond description." The side of the moon you see every night, the near side, is covered in vast, dark plains called Maria. Ancient lava floods that cooled into flat basalt seas billions of years ago. That familiar face, the one drawn in 1,000 paintings, photographed 1,000,000 times, about 31% of it is smooth volcanic plains. The far side has almost none of it, less than 1%. Instead, the far side is a wall of craters stacked on top of craters stacked on top of older craters, as if something spent 4 billion years hammering it without stopping. The crust on the far side is roughly 50 kilometers thicker than the near side. No one fully agrees on why. The leading theory requires an ancient cataclysm so violent it sent heat waves rippling through the entire interior of the moon, pushing rare earth elements and radioactive material to one side like fat rising to the top of cooling broth. One side became geologically active, volcanic, alive with lava. The other became a graveyard of impacts, each crater preserving the memory of a collision that the near side forgot. This is not a minor geological variation. This is a planet-scale schism, a world split against itself. Christina Koch described the smaller recent craters on the far side as bright white pinholes against ancient grey rock, like holes punched through a lampshade glowing against a dark room. She was the first woman to see this with human eyes, and what she described sounded less like geology and more like something else was watching from the other side. At the bottom of the moon's far side lies the largest confirmed impact crater in the solar system, the South Pole Aitken Basin, roughly 2,500 kilometers wide, up to 13 kilometers deep. If you placed it on a map of the United States, it would swallow everything from Texas to Virginia. The mountains along its rim reach 8,500 meters. That is close to the height of Mount Everest, and they ring a crater floor deeper than any ocean trench on Earth. But the crater is not the mystery. What is underneath the crater is the mystery. In 2019, planetary geophysicist Peter James and his team analyzed gravity data from NASA's Grail mission, and they found something buried beneath the basin floor. A mass anomaly sitting at least 300 kilometers below the surface. Something dense, something enormous, with a minimum mass of 2.18 quintillion kilograms. Peter James described it as roughly equivalent to burying a pile of metal 5 times the size of the big island of Hawaii underground. Whatever it is heavy enough to drag the basin floor downward by more than half a mile. The leading theory, it is the metallic core of the asteroid that punched the hole 4 billion years ago, still lodged inside the moon's mantle. Like a bullet fragment, the body never pushed out. There is something painted on the moon's surface that no one can explain. Reiner Gamma. A bright white swirl sprawled across the lunar surface like someone dragged a paintbrush through the dust. Hundreds of kilometers wide. It has no height. It is not a mountain, not a crater, not a lava flow. It is a flat optical marking. A pattern that exists only because of something happening beneath the surface. The moon has no global magnetic field, lost it billions of years ago when its molten core solidified and the protective dynamo stopped spinning. Yet scattered across the crust, localized magnetic patches still survive, like ghosts of a field that used to protect the whole world. Reiner Gamma sits directly over one of these magnetic patches. The magnetism appears to be shielding that patch of surface from solar wind weathering, keeping it brighter than the rock around it. But here is the thing, no one knows why these magnetic patches survived. Did they form when the moon still had a dynamo? Were they created by ancient asteroid impacts? Did a comet graze the surface and leave its magnetic imprint? Scientists have proposed all 3 explanations, and no single theory explains all the observations. The Artemis II crew photographed Reiner Gamma as they swept past, and what they captured will take months to fully analyze. Because the question Reiner Gamma asks is not about geology. It is about whether the moon is hiding something about its own past, something it has never told us. Beneath the moon's surface, tunnels wait in the dark. Ancient lava flows carved them, rivers of magma that solidified on the outside while still flowing on the inside, leaving hollow tubes kilometers long buried just beneath the surface. Radar data and high-resolution imagery suggest these tunnels exist across the moon, some large enough to shelter entire cities inside. Their true size is unknown. Their structural stability is unknown. What is inside them, trapped gases, preserved volcanic deposits, ice, is entirely speculative. And then, in 2023, something else was found beneath the far side surface. A thermal anomaly. A region roughly 50 kilometers wide that registers 10 degrees Celsius warmer than everything around it. The source appears to be a massive buried block of granite, a rock type that is common on Earth, but almost unheard of on the moon. Because granite requires water and plate tectonics to form, neither of which the moon is supposed to have, scientists believe it is the remnant of a volcano that went dormant 3.5 billion years ago. Its residual heat still radiating, impossibly faint, from the interior of a world we told ourselves was completely cold. The lead researcher said it looked far more like what we see on Earth than anyone had thought possible on the moon. And the question that followed was the one no one expected to be asking in 2026. What else is still warm under there? Beyond the geology, beyond the mystery of the surface, there is something more immediate. Something that threatens every human who tries to go back. Deep space radiation, the invisible predator of the cosmos. Galactic cosmic rays born in supernova explosions, traveling at nearly the speed of light, passing through almost anything we have ever built. The Artemis II crew traveled during solar maximum, the peak of the sun's 11-year activity cycle, when the risk of a catastrophic solar particle event is at its highest. A severe solar storm can push radiation to near-lethal doses within hours, and during the 40-minute communications blackout, if a solar storm had struck, Mission Control would not have known until the signal returned. Apollo astronauts reported seeing mysterious light streaks behind their closed eyelids during their missions. Galactic cosmic rays passing straight through the hull of the spacecraft and through their retinas. Deep space radiation has been called the single greatest biological barrier to human exploration beyond Earth. The showstopper, the wall that engineering alone cannot break. And yet, the far side of the moon offers something extraordinary in return: radio silence. The far side is permanently shielded from every signal, every broadcast, every electromagnetic whisper of human civilization. 3,400 kilometers of solid rock blocks it all. Radio telescopes placed there could listen to frequencies the ionosphere blocks from Earth's surface, opening a window into the early universe that has never been available in the history of science. Victor Glover said it simply after Orion cleared the far side and Earth reappeared in the window. The moon is not just a poster in the sky that goes by. It is a real place, and the more we learn about it, the less comfortable that fact becomes.